Oh gosh, yeah, the Salvation Swan gives it flying, doesn't it? Oh, that's crazy. Immortal Sun. That is actually insane. Let's go for the Kastral. Oh my goodness. Look at that as well. We have quite the aerial assault force here. Brutal. Oh my goodness, and we get roaming throne. Flying sometime, eh? Who would have thought? Welcome, and today's video is a bit different than normal. It's something that you probably wouldn't expect to see on the battlefield too often because people just maybe perceive its power level to be a bit low. And it's not apparent how strong it is, but it does do something really unique. So whenever one or more birds you control hits a player, you can put a bird from your hand or graveyard on the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So it will only be able to... Well, it won't last as long as normal, basically, because if it would die, it would be exiled instead, so you can't keep repeating this. But it is pretty cool to cheat in some big birds, or you can put a counter on each bird you control, or you can draw a card. So there's a lot of versatility with this, and it can be used for stuff that's been cast before it, so you don't have to hit it with itself, it can hit with any other bird, which is quite nice. And we can duplicate the number of birds we have using Reflection of Littjara, so that's pretty cool. The deck uses a really interesting card with a Spotlight Falcon. It basically self-replicates itself, so when you cast it, you can collect evidence 5, so exile stuff from your graveyard that totals 5. If you do, you get a copy of this into your hand. Basically, you can just keep going, which is interesting, but it can be very viable when you're running out of big threats, and a 4-mana 4/3 is fine, doesn't do too much, but yeah, it's just another aerial threat that goes over the top. You have ways to buff your flying creatures with Empyrean Eagle. You've got Vega, which is cool, lets you draw a card if you cast anything, a spell from any other in your hand, so that includes your command zone, which is quite nice. Watch of the Spheres gets your birds a bit cheaper and gets a bit bigger when other flyers come in. Skycat Sovereign also gets bigger for each other flyer you have, and you can create white cat birds, which are kind of cute. Ledger Shredder is a pretty decent bird that lets you connive whenever somebody casts a second spell. I really like Judge's Familiar. This is really good anti-Thoughtseize tech on turn 1. If you play this, you play against Thoughtseize, and you can sacrifice this to make them essentially counter Thoughtseize unless they have 2 mana, which is nice. This used to be used quite a lot in Standard and Modern back in the day, just a few copies of before those formats got crazy. On the top end, you got Vanquisher's Banner to make your birds a bit stronger and lets you draw extra cards, which is really nice. And we're just going to try Copy Acquire. It costs 2 less to cast for as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. But that could be nice in a couple of ways, just because it lets Kastral cheat this out. So 6-mana bird is one of the biggest you can get. And also it gives your other birds vigilance, which is nice because Kastral wants your birds to attack in. And yeah, there's just some random weird birds that you probably wouldn't think. Oracle the Alpha is a bird. Aven Interrupter is a bird that's nice to just interrupt somebody's spell. This is kind of like, it's like a delayed counter spell as such. What's the card? Like Remand, I suppose. It slows the cast of their spell a little bit. There's just a combination of lots of weird stuff combined together. Roaming Throne obviously works really well. Teferi to stop your opponent's casting stuff on your turn. It's definitely more than the sum of its parts, though. It doesn't look on paper too strong. But yeah, once you get 2, 3, 4 birds out and starts putting counters on your birds, making them bigger than they should be, it is quite imposing. And the fact they're all flying could also mean you could build this as a Voltron deck. There are no actual swords in the deck, but it probably would be good to maybe put 1 or 2 in, just to give you something to do. But I just ran out of slots, basically, to try and fit as many birds as I can. There's only 19 birds that I could really find that was just valuable enough to pop in here. But as sets come out and more birds come out, there'll be nice new additions. I think Salvation Swan is quite significant. It's a bit like Restoration Angel, but repeatable. Whenever another bird comes in, you flicker something without flying. I think that's the issue. You exile something without flying, so there's not going to be many options in the deck, but it could potentially save something like a Roaming Throne, or maybe even Boromir, which is a bit ironic because he saves other things. But yeah, birds are really a premium in this deck, so you have to be really be appreciative of what you actually have already, so you've not got a terrible amount of choice. But yeah, let's see how it does today. It's decent. It's fine. It's fun. It's a bird deck. What more could you ask for from a bird deck?
Huh. What is it, Otacon? Hey, Snake. Have you thought about getting some more subs and some views?
Yeah, we could do some new subs.
How are they gonna do that?
Yeah, you can just do that below.
Go ahead and click like and subscribe below.
Okay, going against Bonnie Pall. Clay cutter. This is pretty common these days. Seems. I suppose it could be worse. Starting off with the delighted halfling. We want to ramp ready next turn. We need to get the birds out as soon as possible. Then Kastral. We'll start doing some shenanigans. Okay. Leaving up green. We'll go for blue. Next time we could go for Warden. Or actually Scouting Hawk with Ramper. So maybe that's better, really. Or you go Warden and the Glintless Crane. They're going to return a land? Interesting. Okay. Well, that's annoying because it means the Scouting Hawk now doesn't do what I wanted it to do. What's this? That's blue. Stop tapping the blue. Dude. Why is it so obsessed with tapping the blue? It's kind of crazy. That's so crazy. That would have just ruined our entire plan there. Okay, miss. This thing misses a lot. It really does. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it does mean you have a Kastral next turn, which is kind of nice. Kind of like that. Okay, let's attack. And because we've got so much stuff, let's put a counter on all of our creatures here. Make them very imposing. You know, a counter on every bird. That's quite significant. Until they go River's Rebuke and we're like, no. So they could go for Bonnie Pall, but we do have 2 kill spells. Interesting enough, turning something into an ox. Oof. Railway Brawler. That's trying to rival our Kastral, but that's a mythic, so it just does it automatically. Interesting. The difference there between power levels. Well, between rarities, actually. Colossal Rattleworm. What the hell? Wait, why is that 12-11? Another creature you control enters, put X counters on it, where X is its power. Oh my. Oh, it's basically double. Yes, that is rather terrifying, isn't it? Let's kill everything they have. And then, yeah, we're going to alpha. Oh! Okay. They just quit. But would it have made a difference? Okay, that's got reach. That would have made a small difference. But, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. But it just felt a bit premature. All right, let's go. We've got a bit of ramp. We've got flicker. With the Salvation Swan and the Skyclave Apparition. So that's quite a nice little bit of synergy there. Especially when we don't have that many non-flies in the deck. Sadly, we don't really want to keep that on top. Although, with Kastral, we can put a bird from a graveyard on the battlefield. Seems weird, doesn't it, for white-red to be a reanimator for birds, but there you have it. The fact they're ramping is oddly good and bad for us. They're obviously getting closer to their commander and big things, but we have stuff like Scouting Hawk and Urza's Silex. Jeez, they have ramped so hard here. So they are going to be able to go for Blue, white, blue, black, red, green, yeah, I guess. 5 mana as well. Oh, jeez. Question is, do we just go for the Silex here, or is that going to be just killed? That's not going to kill any of their lands, though. So maybe we just ramp. It's kind of funny, really. We're using their lands against them, because the more lands they have, the better stuff like Scouting Hawk is. And then eventually we get to a point where the Silex goes nope, and then reduces them to land. So it's like a fine line between what we want them to have and what we don't want them to have. Eldrazi repurposer, but yeah. Also the fact we've got the River's Rebuke. We might want to just slow roll with this as well. Let's swing it in with that. We can take that. We could even... what do we want to do? Ooh, Sun Titan. What do we want to do here? Whenever you cast spot, whenever an Eldrazi person dies. How scary is that stuff? Do we want to kill something? I feel like killing something is... Let's just go for the Silex. Because I feel like they're going to have something scary next turn. They can only go 5, 6, 7. They've got 7... They're going to have 8 mana in their turn. I mean, it's 5 colour. They probably also have an answer to Silex. That's quite likely. And in which case, we'll then have to rely heavily on this. Oh, they're going to go for 2 snapping Void Claws. They're going to play the 6th land. So even though we have the Silex out, they still commit 100% to the board. I always find that interesting. So if we do this, we'll block the field and we can get ourselves a nice Teferi. Which is weirdly the same move I did earlier. There we go. Luckily, we have Planeswalkers in the deck. 6 lands. Was the choice right there for them to just play out everything? I don't really know. I really don't know. Also, like, they're ramping anyway. Do they really care? Once they get to 10 mana range, they're going to be able to cast god-awful things, you know. A Lady in Mir. I think we just slow them down here. I'm terrified of Ulamogs and the like. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then, depending on what they do next turn, we could just troll them again with a Teferi. I'm going to go for Ulalek. Okay. So sometimes tempo can be enough. Just stalling. Stalling is good. Watch the spheres. Makes our creatures with flying cost 1 less. That's pretty decent, actually. How much is Ulalek now? 5, 7, 9. And Sun Titan can start bringing things back. Bring back the Scouting Hawk to ramp. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ulalek coming back. A Lady in Mir. Now, scary thing is, if I use the Obscure Polymorphist here on the Ulalek, they're going to get another creature. Now, is that a good thing? Who knows? However, if they do get an Ulamog or something, we can flicker the Polymorphist with the Swan.
I've got time.
We'll just get rid of all their ramp. Just get rid of all their ramp here. But yeah, giving them a creature with the Polymorphist is terrifying. It's terrifying. 3 unknowns in their hand. What, they got casualties? I'm going to Wastegate Battle Mage. Returning that to our hand. Okay. Okay. Let's go for Sun Titan. Get the bird back. Get a land. Seems pretty good, right? That's decent. Optic. And I'm actually going to... I don't really want to trade those, because as I said, if we can flicker something with the Salvation Swan, this could be pretty annoying for them. Because it says, whenever a swan or another bird enters, exile something, return it. This is really, really powerful. How much have we got? 6, 7, 8. They've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as well. No 3 drops in the graveyard, though. Unless we do this. Okay, we'll do something sneaky. We'll cycle this to draw a card. And then the Sun Titan can actually attack and then get it back. That was pretty nice. And they are going to block it as well. Tell you what, let's do the Swan now. So they are going to get a creature in return for the Skyclave. But we will bounce the Signet as well, yeah. It's just keep slowing them down, basically. Oh boy, they're not going to be happy. So we should have lethal very, very soon. We can flicker something else as well. I guess the timing that wasn't so great. Oh, he's got flying now. Okay, actually that's kind of cool. Yeah, the fact... Oh gosh, yeah, the Salvation Swan gives it flying, doesn't it? Oh, that's crazy. Immortal Sun. That is actually insane. Let's go for the Kastral. Oh my goodness. Look at that as well. We have quite the aerial assault force here. Brutal. Oh my goodness, and we get Romy Throne. Flying Suntime, eh? Who would have thought? Awesome. Okay, our hand is super weird, but I want to keep it based on the fact we have Basri Cat. Their deck is a Spellslinger deck, so it looks to be pretty aggressive already. Soul Scar Mage, okay. So whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, the first otter, you may have target opponent draw a card. If you do, copy that spell. Okay. See how this goes then. Now, the fact they've gone first is kind of scary, but hopefully we'll be able to get around this by resolving some spells. We'll see. What is that? That's a white source. I like how it wanted to tap my blue source there, kind of annoying. Let's go for the Glint Nest Crane. A bit of a strange one, but it's got 3 toughness, which is kind of nice against blue. And sadly it missed. No artifact in the top there. But just having any kind of blocker against this is kind of nice, because they might want to waste a removal spell on it. See what they do. No? Okay. Got 5 mana. Let's see what they do about the Sentinel here. Interesting. Let's go for the Basri Cat. Now, if they counter this, it's going to be a bit annoying, but if they don't, wash away. Okay. And they can pay 1 for the Sentinel as well. That's sad. This does mean next turn, though, if they go for this, we can use the Obscure Polymorphist to get rid of it. So this is not a bird, but it is a pretty decent removal spell, and we have a little bit of flicker effect in this. We've got the Yorion that can flicker stuff. People are just so eager to use Wash Away that counter spells are strange. They're like all-consuming viruses that make people do weird things. They make people play very strangely. Yeah, it's hard to kind of explain. But people are so desperate to use the 1 blue on the Wash Away or other spells that they just kind of forfeit doing anything else in the deck. I really wish I had another land. That would be very good. Okay, there's a land. 1000-Year Storm is scary, but we have the Urza Silex. They're actually attacking in. Okay, are they gonna... No? Okay. Right, let's kind of force their hand a bit. See if they have any artifact removal. And I think I will attack, actually. A lot of people don't actually read Silex and just play extra lands and permanents into it. The amount of times I've played a Silex and people just play extra creatures and lands and don't really realise what it does. I mean, they could just have removal for it, 100%, but We'll see. A few people don't bother looking. So 1,000-Year Storm. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, copy for each other spell you cast before it. So you normally go for a decoy spell first. And then, I don't know, something big after. Fragment reality. Okay. Well, let's go to combat. Go over the top. Interesting. Let's try and blow people up then. Get rid of the 1,000-Year Storm is important. I do not want to be hit by that. I really don't. And then paying 2 here means we can get to Fairy, which is great. If they stifle it, then we keep all our stuff. But yeah, 1,000-Year Storm is a super scary card that we kind of have to get rid of there. And we kill one of their lands, which is nice because it's a difference between them 100% casting Alania and maybe not. Yeah, I really love stuff like the Silex, because especially if you're playing against a POC player, this is one of the very few ways that lets you equalize against a POC. Because POC is reliant on the amount of lands they have. Yeah, this can just sort you out so nicely. Reduces them down to 6/6. Takes them down a peg. And I really want them to tap out so I can give it to Fairy. Coruscation Mage. Whenever you cast an uncreature spell, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. You can cast instant sorcery from there. Includes Wash Away. 1 damage.
Right
Okay.
on schedule.
I think I will bounce that.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Nice. And let's get rid of that as well. And we still have the 1 mana up for the Fragment Reality. So they do want to go for the Alania. And we have an answer for it. And we also have the follow-up Rebuke. In fact, we could even use Rebuke at instant speed. Which is kind of funny. On their end step. Coruscation, Mage, Wishing Well. Doing the same thing again. I think I'm actually going to exile the Well, because I do not like them having that. And they get a Kenra spells Spear. Okay.
I've got it.
Do we just go for some creatures? Because they've got counter spells. Yeah, let's just go for some creatures. We'll try and get a bigger hit with the Rebuke later on. Oh, Roaming Throne. Awesome. And the Plume Creek doesn't get any triggers yet. I mean, it's quite hard to use this in this deck because we've got so many flyers. So, I mean, it'll work if we go for Roaming Throne and then another flyer afterwards, but we'll see. Let's see what they do. This has got potentially double prowess, which is kind of scary, and trample. This is definitely a win con on the right deck. For a 2-drop uncommon, that's kind of unprecedented. Oh, so what are we gonna do then, dude? SSJ 324. Very dehumanizing game attack, and actually just reduce ourselves to just letters and numbers and Brawl. Copy a spell? Scry? The Scry. 2 mana up. I mean, if they pass to our turn, they're gonna attack with the Kenra. So I'm actually going to double block this. It's not as simple as it looks. If they play 1 spell, that becomes a 4/4, so we need to have 2. Nice, okay. Happy about that. Ooh, Fateful Absence. They can't counter any other things. They can't cost spells in our turn. Bird. Kill the Rail. That's really nice, actually. Having Teferi is just so good. So good against control-y decks. What can they do here? Activated. They can, like, just use activated abilities. Magma Opus. Okay.
Win some, you lose some, then you repeat the experiment.
And I'm just going to leave these back. I don't want them to hurt Teferi. I need Teferi to be -3. Pardon me. I want to keep his -3 active for when they go for the Alania here. And the fact they've discarded Magma Opus tells me they probably have Mizzix's Mastery in the deck to just cast all the big spells from the graveyard. But they currently only have one, so if they use Mizzix's Mastery, so they're going to get one. It's not too bad. Just going to go for Alania. Interesting. Let's go for Kastral then. Not too worried just yet. Swing in. So we're going to get double triggers here, which is excellent. What's actually in our graveyards? You can get the Glint Nest Crane. And let's draw a card. We need to get some extra oomph. Ooh, Fractured Identity. Nice. And we actually get double triggers for that as well. And we miss. And we miss. Okay. Maybe that's not so good in the deck, but... Return that.
Here we go.
You can tell they've got something in their hand that they're so itchy to use. If it's the first instant spell, sorcery, or otter. So if they play this and then they play spell, then it does work. But if they play this and then another otter, it doesn't work. Interesting wording there. I think that's going to trip a few people up. Stormkiln Artists. They're not going to be happy when I rebuke them, are they? I feel like they've basically got loads of counters that they can't use. Like if I feel like if we rebuke here, they're just going to quit. Let's go with these two. Leave some blockers back for Teferi again. And then we get double triggers. The Roaming Throne makes this just incredible. Let's make our team bigger. Let's draw another card. And they want to set something up, so let's slow them down a hell of a lot here. This does mean that our enemy board wipes are going to be incredibly good against us now. But it's the way it is. There's a lot of red board wipes that would sort our field out a lot. 5 damage to all creatures and planeswalkers. That would mean Kastral is the only survivor. At least Kastral would survive. So maybe putting a few more counters would be logical here against a red X deck. Although the blue side means they can just bounce us up anyway. So blue X is actually a really interesting kind of dichotomy they have. Because counters protect us from red sources. But their blue sources will be able to get us anyway with bounces. So it's tricky. Has Teferi annoyed them enough? I just love Teferi so much. It just teaches people a lesson. If people are just so obsessed and greedy with counterspells, this just says no. And essentially, he single-handedly wins you games. Like, the tempo swing you get from bouncing stuff, the fact they can't respond in your turn just shuts off most counterspells in people's hands. I would really love to know how many counterspells are in their hand there, because it's just hilarious. Oh, I really wish there was a way to know. Right, going up against a flash deck, Gem Lightfoot. I kind of like this. Someone's using an uncommon. It's kind of cool. Don't see that very often. Now, if this card had flash itself, it would be pretty sick. The fact it doesn't puts me off a little bit, because you're spending 4 mana on your turn to play something that doesn't really have an impact. 3/5 Vigilance, so yeah. It's okay. But maybe they've made it awesome. Maybe the rest of the deck is pure cancer. Land, please. No, I want a land, please. Okay, well that's a land. That is a land indeed. Blue source. Wow, didn't get counted. Interesting. How much of the deck is flash? Let's bait them out with the familiar here. Interesting. I would have gone for the study there, but I don't really want it to get counted. Quick study, draw 2 cards, instant speed. I will actually counter that. In a way, it feels like they've just lost 3 cards. But maybe they wanted us to do that. So they can cast the gem, yeah. Makes sense. But then we have this to bounce it, so... Oh, man. I'm sorry. The one time I'll play something that's a different commander. I'm sorry, but I was birds too. I was trying to do something different. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.